Welcome. My name is Gena Timberman, and you are listening to Timber People, a podcast about people who, like timber, are strong, build and create, who gather us together like fuel that feeds fire. People who support structures of our community that uplift and protect. Halito, welcome. What an honor and pleasure it is to have my friends and Chahta sisters here with me today, Chrischelle Baker and Sheri Powers. Welcome.
Thank you, Gena.
Oh, what a gift it is to have you both. I've been saying, and we were talking about it earlier, that this is a really great time to sit in the studio and have a conversation and record our thoughts and just our feelings about what we're doing in the world and what's happening around us in Oklahoma and beyond and throughout Indian country. And I've really wanted to engage more families on my podcast. So knowing you and your family and who you are and your values, this is really special to me to be able to do this today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. We were talking as you walked in, as we were getting situated about taste in music and the 90s and just what we enjoy. And I really appreciate that we have that identity and connection to these areas of time. We're close in age. I've been really great friends with your brother, who's my Choctaw brother, Stephen Baker. And shout out to Stephen Baker for connecting us in this opportunity. But I've known your family for many, many years and have greatly appreciated the commitment to our community, to our Choctaw ways. And I know that you're always there to represent our cultural identity and often our language as well, but also for our Choctaw Cultural Center and how you show up for what we do and also for our First Americans Museum. So greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. I go just so I can learn more, not just about Choctaw, but all the other tribes that we have here. I think that's important too, just to know other people.
Absolutely. And I love that you welcome others at our cultural center. And oftentimes when I see you both, you're wearing beautiful beadwork that you've created or your Choctaw regalia that represents who we are and the symbols that are important to us. And so I love to see I always love to see you, and I always love to see your families always together. It seems, and I love that.
I love that too. We try to dress out when it's special occasions, and I just think that's fun. We do try to plan things together. In fact, me and her and Stephen are going to go to a workshop in a couple of weeks. Because we just like to spend time together.
Yes, you've had some good adventures over the years, but I know that you went to Nashville this year and you also travel together. You do community events together. Mm-hmm. So it's always great to be aware of that and to know that. And I love how you post about it too. Great pictures.
Yes, we do love to.
We do want to try to make a trip next summer to the Mississippi Fair. I've never been. They've gotten to go.
I've never been either, actually.
I'm going to take my
next
boys
year. Let's
go.
I will put me in, Coach.
Yeah, and I wanted to go as a family, so we were trying to get it together.
That's great.
I think that'd be fun.
I was just talking about, seeing, your family, the kiddos in your family, your sons and your nephews, at the Choctaw Cultural Center, the opening and with Tim Tingle. And it's great to see. I feel like an auntie at a distance. You said a beautiful statement, Sheri, about, other people in your family setting an example of the kind of aunt you want to be. And I love that because that really resonates with me as an auntie as well.
Yeah. I love being a mom, but I really love being an aunt because it's easy.
Right? It's easy. I feel that way too. But, our tribe, we put out there these beautiful words about who we are with faith, family, and culture. And I was saying, and would like the listeners to know that, knowing you all, that you embody that in from your family history, but also who you are today and your identity and how you represent yourselves in our community.
Yeah. Choctaws always did that. I can remember them more than me because they're much younger than me. And I moved out before, a lot of it took place. But I can remember my dad, through my dad, family was just family. It didn't matter how distant a cousin they were, if they needed a place to stay, they were always welcome to come around. We always had all kinds of cousins come stay with us
Right.
for any period of a time, and they were just welcome. It was just family was family.
Right.
And I just, when we talk about that, it was like, that was the Choctaw way.
Absolutely. And when you think back about, it's important today. And when you think back about our history and removal, and, we needed those distant relatives as well as our close relatives, and adoption was important, and having the extended family to provide love and support and care in those challenging times. And it's important in good times and in bad times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you brought up adoption. So my nephews are adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many times I forget that.
Right. I think that's important,
Yeah.
that is your family.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
And what's really cool is that when we were going for the adoption, we just wanted we went to just a tribal kid.
Right.
And I was also worried, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to learn mine and their
Right.
But we were blessed. We got Choctaw babies. So
that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're fortunate to be in a place like Oklahoma where we're close to our tribe, and we have that opportunity to learn about those adoption, aspects with our tribe. But also that if you did adopt another tribal baby, that we have a lot of tribal friends all around us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, I love the intertribal nature of that.
That's one of the things I like about my organization, Matriarch.
Yes.
Because there's, granted, there is a bunch of Choctaws in there. It's kind of funny every year. They're like, oh, you got so many Choctaws in here. But there is other tribes as well. And I love learning about the different ones, And so Matriarch for me is special. I've been with Matriarch since it began. And I think besides me and the two co-founders, we're the only originals there. But I love that, meeting all the new sisters, and for me, once you're in there, you're my sister.
Right.
And, you may fade out and others will come in, but they're all my sisters. Right. And so I just love learning about all their different backgrounds and their tribal cultures. It's all different from mine. And I was telling my siblings just the other day, I think it's really cool how, and I'm going to start doing it more, but, like I have Creek friends or Muskogee Creek and Seminole. And so I know what Mado means.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start when I thank them, they say thank you to me, they use the word Mado. So I was like, okay, I'm going to reciprocate.
Right.
I'm going to start saying Yakoki. And so in that aspect, we'll be learning each other's language. Right. I think that's pretty cool.
It is cool.
It is important. It's very cool. And I'm glad you bring up Matriarch. Can you talk a little bit about that history and for the listeners who may not be aware of Matriarch's mission or the organization and what it means to Indian country and our community today?
Okay, yeah, sure. So the founders are Sarah Adams and Kendra Wilson Clemens, and they got together because there was a need for a safe place for women. And then, that's year one, it was a safe place for women. It's also extended out to the two spirits and non-binary as well. So, but it's a safe place. And so we come together. You do have to apply. Mm-hmm. We only have room. We have two classes, one in Tulsa, one in Oklahoma City. And there's a room for approximately 30 women in each group. And it's just such an amazing group of women of all kinds of categories, tribes, professions, and age.
Yeah. That's important.
It is.
That intergenerational, connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a fantastic group of women. And, and like I said, it's a safe place. We go there and we can just talk about whatever, and we know it's not going to go out of that room, and then the support is amazing.
Yes, and I've been fortunate to have Sarah Adams on the show to talk a little bit about that, and I know that there's always something new happening, and I always love to see, our matriarch warriors out in our community doing cool things, and I know that you do so much. There's always something great happening.
Yeah, there's always something going on, and like I said, and we get together. We have 2 meetings a month, and those meetings are to enrich our souls and empower each woman. They have what would you say, meetings about anything from self-defense to
Suicide.
Yes, like I say, suicide prevention. We've had MMIW classes. How we could learn how to
ICWA.
search ICWA. Yes, just and then to kind of contrast those deep subjects. Then in between that, we'll have fun classes, like we'll learn how to bead, or we make shawls every year, or ribbon skirts, and just different things like that.
I love that it is that safe place, and there are so many of my friends have been involved in Matriarch since the beginning and beyond, and I love that it's a place to learn, again, about other cultures, but also, a lot of our Native women may not know how to do beadwork, even if they're culturally connected to that, or to make a shawl, or, so to have a safe place to be vulnerable culturally and to learn from people in your tribe and others, I think that is also what is so important about planning places like our Choctaw Cultural Center and First Americans Museum, is to have safe places. So to have other safe spaces like Matriarch, I think is great.
And to learn about your culture.
Yeah.
I mean, 50% of the people that come there, or the women that come, during our first initial meeting, we always have, get to know each other session. And about 50% of them say they applied to Matriarch because they wanted to reconnect with their community.
Yes.
And I just, is surprising and yet amazing that they're able to do that.
Right. And, many people may not be connected to our elders. And so, bringing up the different age groups, and, we're at an age, I know, Sheri, you're a little younger than we are, but we're at an age where we're becoming those elders. And so that's important to have that sisterhood and that connection.
And I was going to say, I liked it because it was a place that I got to go and see people that look like me,
right,
and think like me, and have ideals like me.
Right.
Because growing up, I'd see Indian, rarely.
Right,
It was very rare.
Now you guys went to Moore High School, right?
That's right.
Yes. I went to Mustang, and Stephen and I have talked about being in Moore High School and what that was like during that time and everything. And what part of the state is your family from in Oklahoma?
Southeastern part in Choctaw country.
Yes.
My daddy grew up in Batiste, Oklahoma.
We were from Watson as well as Yanish, Tuskahoma area.
Okay.
And yeah. So, it's interesting to think about kind of that connection to that area. And, we were connected to the Mississippi, area as well. And I'm glad to hear you're going back next year and going to visit. And I would love to do that too. But it's sometimes crazy to even think about what that reality may have been and what your family was experiencing when they arrived in what is now Oklahoma.
Yeah. That would be really, really scary.
Yeah, your family is a family of great knowledge of our language and cultural ways and identity and history. And I learned so much from your family members. And I know that it's always enlightening to me when I get to learn about your family experiences. And I'm always asking Stephen and others for, what is this word? And
you say that, but we was just laughing the other day how I was saying, the language immerse program they have.
Right.
A lot of our cousins are the ones that are there helping. And I think that's so cool that that's our family that's doing that,
Yes. your family is connected to, that sense of family connection and identity. And I'd love to hear, and I know the listeners would too, about your family's experiences over the years in our community and in Choctaw country.
Like, for instance,
the language programs, as you mentioned,
Okay.
being involved in language programs or the Choctaw Tribal Alliance, or I know that you represent our identity so beautifully through our beadwork with your work represented out there. And
Thanks.
I love it.
Yeah, I know you have a few pieces of
Right,
mine.
right. I'm so grateful for that.
So for me, you bring up the Choctaw Alliance. I think that was my first step into reconnecting. As a child, I grew up, I always knew I was Indian or Native American. But Stephen always asked me, when did you realize you were Choctaw?
Right.
And I don't think I really knew I was Choctaw until like the 5th grade. And that's, when I really learned. And so, but then from there to adulthood, we didn't do a whole lot as far as what you call Indian community or Indian country. And we did go to powwows, but that was my mother's doing. And then when she went away, we didn't do that anymore. My dad didn't really encourage that. Although he was 100% pure Choctaw, fluent speaker, and he lived the Choctaw ways, but he didn't really, follow
His was
that.
more the revivals and
Yeah.
the home churches
Right.
and things like that.
That's so much important and part of our history and culture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. You think about that.
It really
we go
is.
to all those all-night singings.
Yes.
And have those hamburgers.
Well, I love what I saw you. I mean, I've seen you at the Cultural Center a number of times, Choctaw Cultural Center, but also I was there with you in the church exhibit.
Oh, did you
The
see us
Intertribal
singing up there?
I get goosebumps talking about it right now. But I
We were
love
hamming it up.
That was important. That is important, and I love that exhibit. Working on that project, I have a great pride and appreciation for that opportunity to work on that project and to see our Choctaw people engaging with the exhibitions that way was really special.
Yeah, I think it was fun too. I had fun that day. We had good memories from that.
So those hymn singings, and those revivals and gatherings, can you talk a little bit about that and memories or maybe stories that your father told you? Because I know he was a preacher, wasn't he?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I was so
You remember a
little.
lot,
I remember
you
a
so
whole
little.
lot. I do remember going. I remember those burgers.
I
remember how to
personally,
say pop sunna.
Yeah.
I personally just love to sing.
Yeah.
And so whether it be pop, country, Choctaw
Right.
hymns, gospel singing, I just love to sing. So that was always my favorite part.
Mhm.
And like I said, the all-night singings, love those. But Choctaw hymns, they have a special place in my heart. I love to sing Choctaw hymns. And in fact, I bought a CD from that Brad Joe had put out because I want to learn how to sing more different tunes,
Yeah.
I can recognize some of them, but I don't have memory. One memory I do have, though, is when we went to a small little church when we were kids. I was probably about 11 or 12. And every Sunday, I hated that part. Every Sunday, my dad would make all of us kids, well, not just him, but the church would make us go up to the front and sing Choctaw hymn.
Yeah.
And I hated it. But now I'm so glad because I can spit those tunes out like nothing.
Let's hear it.
21, 21 and 48. I got them, they're here.
Yeah. I think of like the cicada, like the sound of that in the background, like in the summertime, and sometimes it could be almost deafening, but yeah, I know that summertime is an important time to come together, and our Labor Day festival that will be coming up, and there will be some good things also approaching our holidays as well. And, I think so much about our gatherings and being connected, for better or for worse, social media can do so much, but it has created this sense of awareness, and the internet, frankly, of how we can connect to our people and what events are happening in Oklahoma City and, throughout the state and beyond.
Yeah, for me, it's been a cool way to stay connected with some of our family that lives down there. 'Cause we
Right.
don't go down there
Yeah.
as much,
Right. I don't as well either. And it's it can be challenging,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can shoot them off any kind of question or,
Right.
comment on Facebook,
Right.
So I think that part is really cool. You can stay connected that way.
Right. I know that you started the Beading Look-See.
Yes.
And can you talk a little bit about that and about how you both learned to beadwork and to kind of represent our identity through your beautiful craftsmanship?
Okay. Yeah. So for me, that goes back to the Choctaw Alliance. Like I said, I was trying to connect there. And so we were starting some cultural classes, and beading was one of them. My first experience with beading was from a family friend. She was making the collar necklaces, and she showed me how to make it. And I was just felt in love, I just fascinated by it. But then, like I said, my dad wasn't really into that stuff. So I kind of lost that connection. I didn't know how to do it. And I didn't know where you could buy beads and, so it just fell by the wayside. So about in my 30s, I guess, I went back to the Choctaw Alliance, and there was a woman there. You may have known her. Deborah Belt is her name. Yeah. She was teaching beading classes there. And so I took it up with her, and she taught me how to make my first medallion. And then we went again over the collar necklaces, and then I just fell in love with it. And then it came to be helpful because I guess maybe a year or two later, we started some dance classes, and my girls were preteens then. And so I was trying to get them into, their culture. Right. And we started with language, and then so we had those classes, and they fell in love with it. They really did enjoy it. And so then they wanted to dance. So I was like trying to buy all their regalia for them so they could dance. And then I was like, dang, this beadwork is expensive, I can't afford for 3 girls. So that's where I was like, okay, I just start beading for them. And then the passion just continued from there. I started the Beading Look-See at just a vending, booth probably about 4 years ago? Yeah, probably. Just, at powwows. Right. And, that was scary for me, now I just feel like, okay, go. Now it's fun. But then, when I first started, was nervous, and my middle daughter, she created the name for me because I got into turtles. And so they were calling me Look-See. And so when I was trying to think of a name for my little vending business booth business, she's like, Mom, you should be the Beading Look-See.
That's great. So, I love that. I like it. I feel that way. That's kind of my animal too. And I love it.
Yes, you had a picture. I remember that. I thought that was a pretty cool Look-See.
Thank you.
So it just grew from that. And now, I'm so excited. I had a museum from Arkansas contact me, and some of my workers in that gift shop there now. And then this week, or maybe possibly next week, I'll be having some beadwork in Hoshi gift shop at the Cultural Center.
Yes, I love it.
That was my main goal.
Yes, I love it.
But
best place to shop. Our museum.
I just went to the anniversary
museum stores.
Yeah, I had a booth there at the anniversary, and my heart was filled with pride when people came to me and they said, "I saw on your Instagram that you were going to be here, so I came to buy something."
That's awesome.
That was so great. To me, the most flattering thing for me is when people buy my jewelry and they wear it and they're so happy. That makes me happy.
I feel happy when I wear your jewelry too. Well, I want to say also that it's so important that you're taking your kids and your family to areas, events, experiences, museums, cultural centers where they learn about their culture, because for kids, I mean, they need the parents to take them to, these places. And I'm so grateful that we have more places today than we did growing up. And it's important. And so I appreciate your commitment to that and commitment to our cultural ways, but also for all of the support that you provide to me and so many other people throughout our community.
Thank you. I seen a quote somewhere. I thought it was pretty neat. It said, push your culture as much as you push athletics.
Oh, right.
I was like, yeah, it's true, because,
that.
people are always encouraging their kids to do well in the athletic stuff.
I
Teach
love
them their
that.
culture as well,
Absolutely.
And I kind of did that on my girls.
You totally did that on
Yeah.
yours.
when we were starting the language class, they didn't want to go. I'm like, come on, let's go. It's time. They're like, I don't want to go. And now I'm very proud of this. My youngest daughter, she's more fluent than I am.
Oh, that's incredible. That is incredible. And, I remember when Charlie Jones had the tapes and everything's growing up and others with the language, and your family members being involved. And now with technology, there's, so many other additional ways that, kid can look up on YouTube or something to hear.
That's what my boys do in the summer.
I love, yes. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, we take them to that youth language fair.
Well, that is incredible.
They took first.
I mean, that is awesome. I mean, I love seeing those pictures and to hear about all of the kids there. And it's a really special time of year, the youth language fair.
Yeah, that's
it's really emotional cool. for me. Just to,
it's emotional. It is
just to hear them, and it's just I don't know. It's just really emotional.
Yeah. I taught them to sing the.
She cried.
Choctaw Hymn 11. Yeah, while they were singing it, I was just bawling because it was beautiful, like I said, I love my Choctaw hymns, but to hear them little voices sing it, it was fantastic.
To hear our little ones sing. So I have, for a number of years, I emceed our pageant, our Choctaw, princess pageant. And, I'll tell you, I'm fighting tears back when there's, with the little ones, they'll go on the stage and whether they may be nervous or they kind of get, held up on sing, and it's a massive crowd.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Just standing up there, if they had just stand up there and not be expected to do anything, I think me at that age, it would have been terrifying.
Yes.
So what has been really special to see is when a little one is out there and they pause or get nervous about knowing the words, or, that the whole crowd starts singing and helping them along. And then to see them swell up with that, okay, I could do it. And they finish the song. That is just, that's just really incredible to me.
Yeah.
I love to see that.
It's good to see that because, we don't want it to die out.
Right. And we all need one another. Mm-hmm. That's important. It's an important lesson and experience to see. But I want to say, again, thank you so much for all you do, both of you, and for the people that you are, the family that you are, and what you provide to our Choctaw people in our community. And Yakoki, Chrischelle, Sheri, it's been a real blessing, a gift to have you on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Yakoki.
Yakoki, thank you for joining us. Timber People is brought to you by the Possibilities Podcast platform.